On October 19th, a year ago, my dad passed away. Um, and dur- during that whole time, I was like, I didn't know how to handle it. While he was in the hospital, it happened over 3 years. You knew it was coming, but there was like, things are getting better. Fucking things got worse. Things are getting better. So it was like this constant push and pull of this is the last time, and then it was like, all right, he's back. Fuck yeah! Like everything's gonna be. Shit, he's going downhill again. And I could see it in his face. It was hard, and it was hard on us. And I didn't know, I didn't know how to handle it. So I ran, and I don't even like running, but I started to run because all I needed was shoes and some space. So I started running, and that's one of the reasons why that started. And so I had this thought that it was going to be hard, right? It was going to be hard when a year came by because have you ever tried to run and cry at the same time? That's weird. You're like, it's the rain. It's like, sir, it's not even raining. It's like, fuck you. But yeah, the running and the tempo, it kind of helped. It kind of helped you fall into a groove and help slow my thoughts down and all these built up emotions. There was a way to get them the fuck out, and kind of organize some of your thoughts. And I remember like the day we put him into hospice, we took him out of the hospital and he was in the car. He couldn't even get out of the car and he didn't want fucking help. He wanted to do it himself. And so I just sat there I just sat next to him. And everyone was trying to get him out of the car, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here with you, man. We got the rest of our lives. Which sounds stupid to say right now, but I was like, we can sit here as long as you want, man. And while we were sitting there, I didn't know what to say to him. He was kind of like coming in and out of sleep or consciousness. I couldn't really tell. But I was like, hey, Dad, you want to know something pretty cool? And he's like, yeah, what? Yeah, anything, Shawn. And I went, Carrie's pregnant, and we're going to have a boy. And it was like the first smile I saw him in weeks. And so I think I bring this up now because I see Luke, our son, and he's here now. And Dad was the first person I told. I don't know if I was supposed to. I don't really give a fuck. I wanted him to know. And anyways, I'm getting off track, but so I thought this was going to be hard again. And if you've watched the video I made last year when he died, it's hard to watch. I haven't watched it since. It was hard to make. I'm just fucking crying through the whole thing. Like, you can see the grief. And I was like, this is going to be hard again. And so I decided I was going to run a marathon. I was going to run a marathon on the anniversaries of his death. Well, anniversary sounds like the wrong word, but that a year later on that same date, October 19th. And that was the plan. So I was running all summer. And part of it was the grief of my dad. And then part of it is my dad was kind of the one who always saw the potential in you, in all of us kids. And he'd kind of get pissed off if you didn't reach for it or if you couldn't do a little bit more. And this is where a lot of my perfectionism comes from, and a lot of this, I better do more. I better do more. I better do more. I'm not doing enough. I better do more. I better do more. And there's like one side that I appreciated. It made me really good at a lot of fucking things, but it fucking destroyed me in a lot of other ways. And I do understand that. So I'll tell you a story. I've never told this publicly. I've told maybe a few very close friends, but it seems important. Maybe you have a parent who you wrestle with. But when I was in the mental health hospital, or almost in the mental health hospital, I guess, during school, during grad school, it wasn't going well. I had a mental break. A girlfriend broke up with me, And that was like the Jenga piece that kind of made everything else fall down. And at the same time, I was also I was in grad school writing a thesis. I had I was doing a graduate assistantship at the wellness center for, it was supposed to be 20 hours a week, but it was more like 30. And I was coaching pole vault at the college level. I was running a club called Team Nodak, and then I was also training myself. Oh, and then while trying to have relationships and all that other shit going on. And so, yeah, that Jenga piece fell down, and that you're not doing enough, you're not trying hard enough, you fucking suck, kind of pulled that Jenga piece out, and I just couldn't handle it. I was like, it's all just crumbling down. I have no control. And so I fell into this like anxiety, depression, really bad place I didn't want to be around anymore. And so my dad drove up 4 hours and tried to give me help. Sat with me. I don't even remember a lot of it. The beginning of it, my brain just probably wasn't even here. But we went to the school's counseling therapist. They suggested this place to go to, and it was inpatient, and I couldn't leave. And I said, fuck that. I want to at least have a little bit of control of my life and decide if I want to go back or not. So we went around, we found this other place. And it was a better fit. And I went there. And that whole time, my dad stayed. He stayed in this shitty little college apartment with me and my brother. And he essentially lived with us and helped me, and was keeping track of meds, what I needed. He was fucking there. He was right there. He would drop me off at the hospital every morning. I don't know what he would do, but I think it was like 6 to 8 hours later, he would pick me up. And then, I just stopped doing all of that shit. I stopped going to classes. I stopped going to the wellness center. I stopped coaching. I stopped all of it. And all I focused on was my mental health in this mental health facility. And it was fucking hard. It's not easy. There's more. I'm trying to stay on track here because there's a lot I could talk about that. But what ended up happening was, I would say about 3 weeks in, I was like, oh, I'm feeling good enough. I just want to pole vault again. Like, it sounds fun, you know? And so I started pole vaulting. Like, the coach up there, again, I'm trying not to say names, was amazing, and just was like, yeah, just, you have the keys. Come in whenever you want. Come jump. So I would jump with my dad, and it was awesome. It was fun. And we would leave, and we'd do it, and we got a pretty good routine again. And I didn't want to unalive myself in those moments. And then I would say the 4th week, I was like pole vaulting, and the girl who broke up with me came in, and I just started running through, and I started fucking running through, and I couldn't take up any pole vault jumps. I couldn't swing. I couldn't do anything, and I just left upset. And when we got into the car, my dad just goes, I can't believe you let her have that kind of effect on you. Oh, I fucking lost it, dude. I was like, I said, fuck you. Fuck you. And we were driving, and he was like, what do you mean, fuck me? Like, you were having such a good practice, and this affected you? Come on, man. You just try a little harder. Like, that's a lot of control of somebody. Like, he just was fucking pushing it, right? And we're driving down the highway, maybe going like 70 miles an hour, and I literally opened the door and was like, I'm fucking out. And I tried to jump out of the car. And he swerved a little bit and grabbed me and pulled me back in, pulled off to the side of the road. And this is super dark, and it's coming to a good place, I promise you. And it's kind of hard to share. And while I'm in the mental health hospital at this time, we're talking about these things called thought records. And essentially how they work is if there's a hot thought, something that's really fucking driving you nuts, you write it down. And you write that thought down. And then you go, what's true about this thought? What's not true? And then the next column, what's not true about this thought? And then they're like, rate your feelings from 1 to 10. Sorry, you do it at the beginning. So you rate your feelings. What's true about the thought? What's not true about the thought? What's a more realistic thought that you can have based on this? And so you write that down, and then you go, how do you feel now? And usually you feel better. And I guess I got this from my dad. I don't know. Maybe I'm wired this way, but we got a binder when we got into the mental health hospital, and I wanted to get better faster. So instead of staying with the binder when I was supposed to, like, all right, this day we're gonna do these 3 pages. I fucking did the whole binder. I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and I'll do it twice. I don't care if you make me do it again, but I'm gonna fucking do the work, right? So I fucking did the whole binder, and we weren't even on thought records in the hospital, but I fucking did those thought records. I did them, and the next day I'm still fucking pissed off. I'm so mad, and I don't even know why, and I'm just like, I can feel it now. I'm just fucking mad. And how they usually start in those is you go into a group and you talk about your last day while you weren't there, and you see the therapist maybe twice a week. And I already saw her twice, and I'm sitting there and I told her this story, and she goes, I think we should probably see each other today. And I was like, I don't even care. Whatever. Let's just go. And so she's like, so tell me what happened. I told her the whole thing, and I'm like, I did your stupid fucking thought records. Doesn't help. I didn't feel any better. You're supposed to feel better at the end of them. Why the hell not? Like, I don't really get it. This is all bullshit. I don't even know why I'm here. This is not in a good headspace. And she goes, well, can I see it? And I was like, yeah. And I gave her the thought record. She goes, well, what came up from it? I was like, nothing. It's stupid. This is all fucking waste. And she goes, you wrote down, you think I'm not trying, as your hot thought. And then you wrote it again. You think I'm not trying. You think I'm not trying. You think I'm not trying. Sorry, give me a minute. And you circled them all. And she just she looked at me, and she goes, you are trying. And she man, I'm sorry, I didn't think this was gonna hit me. And she goes, you've been coming in every single day. You've been working really hard. You took all those things off of your plate that weren't helping you. You've been helping the other people in here. You've been going back to pole vaulting. You've been reading books that I didn't even tell you needed to read. You did the whole journal. You did the whole binder without, and you're not supposed to do that. I think you are doing, I forgot exactly how she said it, but it was like, I think no one can say you're not trying. You are trying so hard. And I started crying in her office. I felt very seen in that moment. Oh, and then I cried for the rest of the day. It just kept hitting me, but I felt really good after it. Like, it's like, oh, I've been holding this shit, and I still am, as you can see. It just hit me really hard again, and it just all kind of came out. It kind of came out of me. And my dad picked me up like he always does, right? He's in the car, and I walk out there, and he goes, hey, how was your day? What'd you learn today? And I told him the whole story. And he started tearing up. And I started crying again. And he's like, I'm so sorry. That's what my dad used to do to me. He's like, I honestly thought it was helping. And we both cried there, just in the parking lot. Didn't leave for a while, and we've talked about that again when I was living at their house. And he would it's cool getting to know your parents as adults, because as a kid, like, that's a lot of heavy shit to hold on. And those those early things you learn, it's like it's conditioning, but it's like the wiring is set up early, and that deep wiring is deep in there, and man, you don't even know how it even got in there. And like I said, it helped me learn a lot about my dad in that moment. And this word sounds stupid, but it's generational trauma, right? Like, in some ways that made me really good at things, and in some ways it hurt a lot. And I don't think he understood, like, the pain that could have. And I don't think he'd understood the pain that it caused him from his father, and probably his father and his father and his father, or mother, or whatever, down the road. So I think I'm telling this story because I know I'm telling this story because I feel like a shit dad quite a bit, because I don't want to pass this stuff on at all. And what really helped with mine in that moment was just an open, honest communication about what happened there, and how he felt about it, and what he was trying to do, and how it affected me. And we were listening to each other, and we were able to be closer because of it. And to me, that's powerful. And I don't know, maybe you have somebody in your life that is hard to talk to, or something happened like that, and that understanding really helped me out a lot. So then when he died, it was hard. There was other things that happened too that I've never talked about, that I feel like I should, and I'll try and keep this podcast short. But I don't know if anyone else feels like this if they've lost somebody, but I didn't really realize how big of a safety net my dad was until that safety net was gone. Does that resonate with any of you? Like, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safer, and I still don't in a lot of ways. And that's weird. It's weird to not feel safe. Or realize how safe you felt when they were around. Like, that's strange. And he died, right? Like, and before he died, everyone was saying, like, just make sure you don't have any regrets. Don't say everything you want to say now. Say everything you want to say now. And I'm like, I don't fucking know what I want to. I just want him to know I love him. Like, I lived with him for 8 years. Hopefully he knows, and now a year's gone by, and there are some regrets that start sneaking in, and I don't think they're real, like, and what I mean by that is, when he was in the hospital, I wanted to visit him more. I wanted to go visit him more, but I had a 1-year-old, and I didn't have anyone that I could ask to watch her at the time, and I couldn't bring a 1-year-old to the hospital. And that, it made me feel like I had to choose between my daughter and my dad. And that's fucked up. And so when this regret starts sneaking in, going, you should have fucking went and saw him. He fucking loved you. You made him feel better. Like, these thoughts kind of keep popping in, and then I have to remind myself that I had this 1-year-old, and if my dad was in my shoes, he would have chose his kids too, and I know he would have. And like, so the regrets part is strange because I didn't have him at the time. I just wished things could have been different, and then it's like my brain's trying to trick me and going, "You fucking asshole! You should have went." And that's strange, right? I think I'm saying it to remind myself of the way, what really happened, right? How did I feel in that moment? What else was going on? And look at the whole picture. That seems to be very important. So anyways, I'm doing this marathon, and my dad would get a kick out of this. So I'm like, I'm not even a distance runner, but I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to run 6 miles. And then a week before October 19th, I was like, fuck that. I'm going to run 30. There's a lot of people who run 26 miles, or there's a lot of people who run a marathon. I'm going to run just a little farther. And I think it's funny because part of that's my dad going, yeah, you think you can only do 26? You think you do 30? And I was like, fuck yeah, I can do 30. I'll show you what 30 is, Get after it. And then I've been joking to everybody. I was like, why'd you run 30? I was like, I'm not a fucking pussy. I'm not going to run some short 26 distance. Run 30. Which is technically, I guess I looked it up, anything longer than 26.6 is an ultra marathon. And if I would have just went a mile, 1.1 miles more, it would have been 50K. I was like, God damn it. Here's how much of a non-runner, distance runner I am. I didn't even know that I was that close to 50K. Like, what do I know? So I can barely walk today. I did it. I thought I would think about my dad the whole time, and there was bouts of it for sure. And the anniversary wasn't nearly as hard as, it's like these little moments that happen in life. That's what hits you. Like the Yankees made the playoffs, and Aaron Judge hit this fucking towering home run off the foul pole, right? And I had this like urge to call him and talk about it. But he's not there to pick up the phone, That hits me. Or I get stuck. I'm like, what the hell do I do with a kid like this? I'd call him and ask him advice, or some song would come up, there'd be like a cool song, or one of his songs, like, he really liked James Taylor or Billy Joel. He had a lot of that. Bette Midler, which is kind of funny. I even went to a concert with him and my mom to watch Bette Midler. The Blues Brothers, which is pretty cool because Amelia likes to dance to the Blues Brothers. And I always think of my dad when we're doing it. I tried to do little funny Blues Brothers dances when I was a kid, and it made him laugh. And I think he just thought that was really cool, It's fun. I like making him laugh. So it's like I don't know. It's those little moments in life that hit me more than this date. This date really, I thought it would be harder. The hardest part was just running that fucking far. Like 30 miles is a lot. And just for the record, because nobody watches these, well, maybe people do. I don't really look at the numbers. But I ran it in 7:34 for 30 miles for an average in stupid winds, because it was like 25-mile-an-hour winds the whole time. So it was hard and struggling to walk today. Stairs are not my friend. So, yeah, it's like, but then the last thing, it's the last little story I'll tell about my dad. Maybe I'll tell two more if I got time. I kind of want to end this at 30. But I got these bracelets here. If you're watching these, they look like this, and I put one more jump on it, and I had to. I talked about this on this post I made, but I had to learn Illustrator. I had to I had to figure out a supplier in China. I had to figure out packaging. I had to do all this really hard shit to make these bracelets. We had sizing and everything, and it was hard. I worked really hard on it. It's really hard on it, and I got them done, and I was proud. They look cool, and I picked the colors because it looks like a sunset, right? And the significance between a sunset is when I left home. I lived there for 8 years. Started Team Hoot there. I met Carrie there. I did the best years of my pole vaulting out of that time frame, and retired there essentially. Got to know my parents there. I did a lot of growing up there. And when I left, it was really hard. Like I didn't realize how much I would miss my parents. Like I would go downstairs every morning and have breakfast with them. We'd have dinner together. We'd just bullshit and talk and about anything and everything. And Dad would ask me questions, and I would tell him, and Mom would ask me questions, and I would ask them questions, and we get to know. I got to know them as adults. You know, like I don't ever feel like I'll be equal to them, but I got to know them as close to equal as I think you could get. Just like, oh, you guys are interesting fucking roommates. Calling your parents roommates. And so 8 years of that, getting to know them and developing this different kind of friendship, relationship, and love, you know, and then I move an hour away. And it hit me hard that in the morning, if Carrie was at work, I was by myself. And I'd spent all day there, and I just didn't really know what to do with myself, and I fucking missed him. So I'd text Dad. I was like, hey, you see the sunset? Because sometimes we'd stand out on the deck. We're like, oh, look at this one. This is fucking cool. Look at the clouds. Clouds really make the light and the colors bounce off of everything. It's pretty neat. And so at the house, I would ask him, I was like, hey, you looking at the sunset tonight? He's like, yeah. Here's what mine looks like. What does yours look like? And most of the time they'd be pretty close. And so when I was making these bracelets, I kind of had that in mind. Like, yeah, I'm going to just use sunset colors, you know, and it feels good, you know. It's very earth tones, you know. It feels fresh. It feels like earth. It feels like life. It feels like our planet, like where we live. And so then when they showed up, I was really excited to give him one. And I gave him one, and he stretched it out a little bit, kind of put it between his fingers, and he goes, it's pretty cool. I don't know why you use such gay colors, though. I was like, you motherfucker. I was a little pissed at the moment. I was like, I worked really fucking hard on this. And you just called it gay? Not that gay is a bad slur or anything, but, you know, that generation, they can say what they want because they got to change the way they look at things, you know? It's like his grandparents saying really racist stuff about, black people. Just, I don't know. You shouldn't let it fly, but you're like, they're old. You know. So I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying. And he took it with him anyways. And then a week later he goes, it's this bracelet's too small. So I put it in some boiling water to try and like loosen it up, and I put it around a Yeti cup to try and stretch it out so it'd fit better. And he did it because he had those baseball size, you know, forearms from being good enough to be drafted to the Yankees, you know, like he had these huge forearms, wrists, and he wore that gay bracelet that he wore that bracelet he thought was gay because I made it. And it's kind of another one of those things that's like, I was proud he wore it. And as a kid, I probably didn't realize how much it hurt to like try and show somebody you love and be vulnerable about how cool this thing is, and you want to share it with them, and they kind of shit on it a little bit. and it stings a lot because you're open. It's like you just took a punch, you know. So after this marathon, I'm sitting in an ice bath because everything hurts, and I get out of it and go into the baby's room and look out the window, and Carrie's looking at it, and it's the same colors. It's a blue bottom with the orange top as that first bracelet I made, and I turned the lights on to change. Luke and Carrie goes, turn them back off, turn those lights back off, and we just watched the rest of the sunset go down. And it felt like he was there. I don't know if I believe any of this stuff, but I think I've said this before, but Caroline White told me once, he's like, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. Anything that makes you think of somebody you love, that's all that matters. And that sunset, on the day he died, while I'm thinking about all this stuff, or a year after he died, felt like he was there, you know? And the joke now has become, when the sunset's over, Carrie goes, that was a pretty gay sunset. Yeah, so we always kind of bask in its beauty, and then, yep, gay. And yeah, I don't know if grief ever really ends. People kept saying it gets better. I don't think it. I'm not crying just randomly all the time thinking about them. So maybe in that sense it's better. But that fucking hole is not gonna go away. I don't see that happening. There's too much of him as a part of me that, and there's been grooves into my brain, in my body, and if I have a soul, my soul for so long, that there's not enough time left in my life that'll fill that back up. So I just kind of, I guess I just miss him, you know? Yeah, I just miss him, and hope I can get to a point where I look forward to those things that help me remember him, instead of like, oh, this is gonna fucking hurt. Fuck you, James Taylor. You know? And yeah, especially having kids now and seeing where my reactions are coming from, I can see where a lot of his came from, and it helps me understand him even more, which makes me want to ask him more questions. And that sucks too, because at one point he did say, just ask me all the things you want to ask me. Ask me all the things you want to ask me. One day you won't be able to. Come on, ask me all the things you want to ask me. And I was like, I ask you stuff all the time. And this isn't a regret, but it starts to feel like one. There's new questions that come up that I didn't know I had. I just wish I can ask the questions. I don't think I get the answer. Sometimes I do. In understanding that we're all just perfectly imperfect, I guess. So maybe I'll end on this. It's like when I said that thing with the mental health therapist about, you think I'm not trying, you think I'm not trying, you think I'm not trying. My dad probably had that in him too. And by him saying his dad pushed him that way, it made me understand him more. And not that I liked that was happening to me, but I understood why. And it created like this space for change. You know, instead of fight, like I wasn't pushing back anymore. I was like, I get it. It was coming from a place of what you thought love, I guess. I was coming from a place of, I don't know what to call it. Doesn't feel like love. Kind of feels like love. It comes from a good place. It comes from a place of best intentions. That's a good way to say it. It comes from a place of best intentions. And I think it took this mental health hospital trip where he was getting some therapy out of it too, based on what I was learning, for him to realize how he had some things that he could work on too. And I guess it's just with my kids, there's this fear of hurting them by being who I am. And it gives me some reassurance to know that I can sit with them and learn along with them. And maybe share my perspective and listen to theirs, and we can grow together that way as we get older too. So yeah, I should probably end it here. So yeah, if I don't know what you have taken out of this. Hopefully it's something along the lines of I think most parents are just trying to do the best they can with the tools they have, which this all sounds like poster bullshit, but I think that's true to the most part. And if they have an awareness to look at themselves and listen to you, good things can happen versus, fighting, which I think happens a lot. So, yeah. I love you guys. Thanks for listening about this. If you want to know more about my dad, I have a video up on YouTube. If you look up Shawn Francis vlog and type in Dennis Francis, or I think it's called My Dad Passed Away. It's all about him, and he's pretty fucking awesome. Miss him a lot. So I'm gonna go hang out with my kids. I love you guys. Life's meant to be experienced, and curiosity will get you there. I will see you next time.